Train your mind like a millionaire, not like the average person, not like the crowd, not like the 95% who settle. No, train it like a millionaire, because success is no accident. It's not in your luck. It's not in your background. And it's not in your circumstances. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So let me ask you, what kind of person are you becoming? Are you training your mind, feeding it, shaping it, sharpening it, or are you letting it drift? See, here's what most people don't understand. You can't live like a millionaire until you start thinking like one. And that's where the difference lies. Not in the money, but in the mindset. Millionaires, they think different. They plan different. They prepare different. And above all, they train their minds every single day. They read. They renew their focus. They know that if the mind is right, the results will follow. Your mind is a garden. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. And now, you might not control the weather, but you do control what you plant. You control what you water, what you feed, what you allow to take root. So, let me ask again, are you training your mind or is your mind training you? Because here's a truth worth writing down. If you don't program your mind, someone else will. In this series, we're going to learn how to take back control, how to think clearly, how to build discipline, how to guard the gates of your mind like a fortress. Not just so you can make more money, but so you can become the kind of person who deserves it. That's the goal. So if you're ready to stop drifting, if you're ready to rise above the noise, if you're ready to think and live on a new level, then come with me. Let's learn what the millionaires already know. Train your mind like a millionaire. Let's begin. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Let's begin with a simple truth. Before you can train your mind like a millionaire, you first need to become aware of what's inside it. Most people go through life without ever stopping to listen to their own thoughts. They never pause long enough to see what ideas they're feeding their mind. And so, their mind drifts, it wanders, it settles for whatever comes easiest. But here's the problem, your mind is always working. It's always thinking. It's always planning even when you're not paying attention. And what do most people think about? Money? Success? Growth? Now most think about what's wrong, what's missing, who's to blame. That's why most people stay stuck. You see, awareness is the very first step in training your mind. It's the foundation. Until you become aware of your thoughts, you cannot choose which thoughts to keep, which ones to discard. And here's what most people don't realize. Your life is a reflection of the dominant thoughts in your mind. If your thoughts are small, your results will be small. If your thoughts are limited, your possibilities will be limited. If your thoughts are rich and expansive, your life will reflect that. So I want you to ask yourself today, what am I thinking about most? Is it possibility or problem? Is it growth or fear? Is it solutions or excuses? This is where the millionaire mind is different. Millionaires know how to direct their thinking. They catch themselves when they start to drift. They practice something I call mental discipline. They become aware not just of what they think, but how they think. Do you? Do you pay attention to your thoughts, or do you let your mind run wild like a wild horse? The moment you become aware, you have power. Because awareness is choice, and choice is freedom. Here's how you can start building awareness today. 1. Practice daily reflection. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what thoughts ruled my mind today? Write them down. Notice patterns. 2. Journal your progress. Don't just write what you did, write what you thought. How did those thoughts affect your actions? 3. Create mental check-ins. Several times a day, pause and ask yourself, am I thinking like a millionaire right now? This simple habit will change your life. Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you get lack. If you focus on growth, you grow. It's that straightforward. But let me warn you, this kind of awareness takes practice. At first, you may find your mind full of clutter, old fears, old doubts. Old excuses. That's normal. Think of it like cleaning out a closet. You have to pull everything out before you can organize. And that's what you're doing. You're pulling your thoughts out, examining them, choosing which to keep and which to throw away. Remember this, the walls we build around us to keep sadness out also keeps out the joy. So open your mind, look inside honestly, and be willing to change what you find. Because the millionaire mind is not born, it's built. Formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. You are the gardener of your mind, and awareness is the shovel that breaks the ground. Without it, you're planting seeds blindly. With it, you plant with purpose. So today, I want you to commit to awareness, to becoming the kind of person who knows what's happening in their mind. Because until you do, your mind will remain a wild horse. But once you become aware, you can train it. You can guide it. You can turn it into your most powerful asset. And that's where the journey truly begins. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. To change your thoughts, change your direction, change your life. Train your mind like a millionaire. That's the goal. But how do you train it? How do you take an ordinary mind and make it extraordinary? Let me tell you something I learned early in my journey. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Let that sink in. Every successful man I ever met, every millionaire I ever shook hands with, had one thing in common. They practiced the same small disciplines every day. Not once in a while, not just when it was easy. Every day. You see, success isn't some big explosion. It's not one lucky break or a single magical idea. It's steady. It's subtle. It's boring even, but it's predictable. You want to change your life, change what you do daily. When I was young, I thought wealthy people had something I didn't. Some special gift or secret knowledge. But the truth was much simpler. They just had different habits. They got up earlier. They read more. They stayed focused when others gave in to distraction. They invested their time like it was gold, because to them, it was. One man told me, "Jim, I can tell your future by your habits." I said, "How so?" He said, "Let me spend a day with you. Just one. Let me watch what you eat, what you read, who you talk to, how you speak, how you treat your time, and I'll tell you exactly where you'll be in 5 years." And he was right, because your habits are the roadmap to your future, not your dreams, not your wishes. It's the small decisions, stacked over time, that build a millionaire mind. Now, I know it's easier said than done. We all want to change, but we also want to stay comfortable. That's the trap. That's where most people get stuck, but they want the reward, but they avoid the routine. They want success, but they're allergic to discipline. I tell people all the time, discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. And here's the thing. You don't get discipline from motivation. You get it from choice. From saying, "I will." Even when you don't feel like it. There were days I didn't want to read, didn't want to write, didn't want to plan, but I did it anyway. Why? Because that's how the mind is trained. You don't train it with emotion. You train it with structure. You train it like a soldier, not a tourist. And over time, that consistency becomes character. Character becomes strength. Strength becomes results, and results, they build belief. But it all starts with the little things. Waking up on time, planning your day, feeding your mind with wisdom, not noise. The millionaire mindset isn't found in books alone. It's built in behavior. You must act like the person you want to become. Not once, not twice, but until it becomes second nature. Until it's just what you do. That's how a new mindset forms. And the old one, the one that was always anxious, distracted, confused, it fades. It weakens. Because you no longer feed it. You see, the mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. Plant weeds, and you'll get weeds. Plant discipline, courage, vision, and you'll get greatness. But you have to plant. Every day. It's not enough to get inspired once in a while. You must create rhythm. You don't become wealthy by thinking rich thoughts once a month. You do it by training your thinking daily. Like an athlete trains their body, like a musician trains their hands, like a craftsman trains his skills. It's not exciting, but it's powerful. And over time, you stop being ordinary. Not because you tried to be extraordinary, but because your habits pulled you higher. Let me tell you, a man doesn't just wake up successful. He becomes successful through silent, consistent, invisible work, the kind nobody sees, the kind nobody claps for. But one day they will. One day people will ask, how did you do it? How did you change? And you'll smile and say, one habit at a time, because that's the truth. Train your mind like a millionaire, and it will lead you not just to wealth, but to peace, to purpose, to power. But first, it starts with what you do today. What you repeat, what you allow, what you commit to, because the mind doesn't care if the habit helps you or hurts you. It will follow whatever you give it. So feed it wisely, lead it firmly, discipline it daily, and it will reward you beyond imagination. That's the millionaire mind, and that's how you build it. Train your mind like a millionaire. You see, the mind is a powerful thing. It can build empires, or it can build cages. And sometimes the only thing standing between a man and his future is what he believes about himself. Let me ask you something. What do you believe you're worth? What do you believe you're capable of? Not when you're feeling good. Not when everything's going right. But on those quiet days when no one's watching. When no one's cheering you on. What do you believe then? Because that belief, deep down, that quiet whisper in your soul, that's what's shaping your life. Now here's the truth I learned. You cannot live beyond the boundaries of your belief. If you believe you're only worth a little, you'll only ask for a little. You'll only expect a little. And life will give you exactly that. But when you raise that belief, when you change that story, everything changes. You see, when I was a young man, I had all kinds of limiting beliefs. I thought I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't connected enough. I didn't come from the right background. I didn't go to the best schools. But one day a mentor told me something that shook me awake. He said, Jim, it's not what you think you are that holds you back. It's what you think you're not. That one line changed my life. Because up until then, I had been feeding myself the wrong story. I had been programming my mind with limits. And here's the secret. The mind will believe whatever you tell it, if you tell it long enough. So the question is, what are you repeating? What are you rehearsing yourself? I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'll never make it. If so, no wonder you feel stuck. No wonder success feels distant, because your mind is following your instructions. The good news is, you can change the instructions. That's what millionaires do. They reprogram their beliefs. They don't wait for someone to come along and fix it. They sit down, look those old beliefs in the eye and say, you don't belong here anymore. They replace fear with clarity. They replace doubt with vision. They replace guilt with purpose. It takes time. It takes effort. But it's worth it. You know what's more exhausting than changing? Staying the same. Living year after year with a belief that was never even yours to begin with. Maybe it came from your parents. Maybe from a teacher. Maybe from a bad experience. But listen, you don't have to carry it forever. At some point, you must take control of the steering wheel. You must stop being a passenger in your own mind. Start asking yourself, is this belief serving me? Does it move me forward? Or does it keep me small? If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't belong in your present. I remember writing down, for the first time, a new set of beliefs, simple truths. I am worthy of success. My past does not define my future. I am capable of learning, growing, changing. At first, it felt strange. I didn't believe it all the way. But I said it anyway. I read it. I repeated it. Until my mind began to catch up. You see, you don't wait until you're confident to speak confidence. You speak it until it shows up. That's how you reprogram the mind. Not with magic, Not with hype, with repetition, with daily decision, with intentional words. That's how you build a new belief system. A system that supports your dreams instead of sabotaging them. A system that pulls you forward instead of dragging you back. And once that shift happens, once your beliefs align with your goals, the momentum begins. You wake up with purpose. You move with clarity. You act with courage. Because now, your mind isn't fighting you. It's fueling you. But you must do the work. You must take back the microphone and start speaking what you want, not just what you fear. Don't underestimate the power of belief. Belief built nations. Belief broke barriers. Belief made millionaires out of men who started with nothing. And it can do the same for you. But you must train your mind, not just in what to do, but in what to believe. Because once the belief changes, the behavior follows. And once the behavior changes, the results take care of themselves. That's how you train your mind like a millionaire. Not just by what you learn, but by what you unlearn. And by the new truth you choose to believe. Train your mind like a millionaire. Discipline. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. It's the invisible thread that connects dreams to reality. You don't wake up one day successful. You build it. Brick by brick, minute by minute. Decision by decision. And at the foundation of all of it is discipline. Now, I didn't always understand that. In my early years, I had the desire, I had ambition. But I didn't have discipline. I had a mind full of wishes, but not a life full of results. I remember a time I sat with my mentor, and I complained. I said, I've got big goals, but nothing's changing. He looked me in the eye and said, Jim, you don't get what you want. You get what you plan. You get what you discipline yourself to earn. That hit me hard, because he was right. You see, a millionaire doesn't wait to feel motivated. A millionaire acts based on principle, not preference. They don't work only when it's convenient. They work when it's necessary. And most of the time, what's necessary is uncomfortable. Let me say this to you slowly. Discipline is doing what you should do, even when you don't feel like it. And that, my friend, is where most people fall off. They wait for inspiration. But inspiration is fleeting. It's like a spark. Discipline. That's the firewood. That's what keeps the flame burning. Now let's talk about focus. Because you can have discipline. But without focus, your energy gets scattered. And scattered energy produces scattered results. A millionaire's mind doesn't chase everything. It chooses one thing. And it gives everything to it. It protects its time. It guards its attention. It says no to almost everything so it can say yes to the right things. You can't do 100 things well. You've got to focus on a few and do them with excellence. Let me give you an example from my own journey. When I started to shift my life, really shift it. I didn't change everything overnight. That's not how growth works. I picked one habit, one discipline. For me, it was getting up early and reading 30 minutes a day. That might not sound like much, but it wasn't just about reading. It was about training my mind, training my focus. Every morning, while others slept, I built my mind. I built it like a carpenter builds a home, one page, one lesson, one principle at a time. And you know what happened? Clarity started to come. Direction started to appear. Opportunities started to open. Not because the world changed, but because I did. That's what discipline and focus do. They prepare you for the doors that life wants to open. But most people, they're not ready. They're too distracted, too reactive, too scattered. They've got goals, but no focus. Desires, but no structure. Here's what I learned. If you don't control your day will control you. And if you don't discipline your mind, someone else will. Every click, every scroll, every notification, they're pulling your attention, stealing your focus. And here's the hard truth. Whatever owns your attention owns you. So if you want to build a millionaire's mind, you've got to take back control. Start small. Set time blocks for thinking. Turn off distractions when it's time to work. Protect your creative hours like gold. Say no to noise. Say yes to your future. You've got to treat your mind like your most valuable asset, because it is. Let me say this again. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Discipline creates structure. Structure creates focus. Focus creates results. And over time, those results become momentum. And that momentum becomes your new life. But it all starts with one decision. A decision to be serious. Not interested. Not, I'll try. But serious. Let me tell you. When you get serious, the world gets out of your way to open. Ideas come. Resources appear. Not because they weren't there before, but because now you're focused enough to see them. That's the power of a disciplined mind. It sees what others miss. It does what others won't. And it earns what others only wish for. So let me leave you with this. Don't just hope for success. Train for it. Discipline your thoughts. Sharpen your focus. Wake up with purpose. Work with intention. And never forget, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by your focus and forged in your discipline. Train your mind like a millionaire. Because the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you've earned. Train your mind like a millionaire. Now let me tell you something I learned the hard way. The future is not something we wait for. The future is something we build, one decision at a time, one day at a time. And if you want a better future, you've got to plant the seeds today. You see, most people, they want the harvest. They want the success, the wealth, the freedom. But they're not planting. They're not watering. They're not patient. They want results now. But life doesn't work that way. Success is not microwaved. It's slow cooked. It takes time, and time takes discipline. And discipline starts with a long-term vision. A millionaire's mind doesn't just think about today. It sees 10 years down the road, and it acts accordingly. I remember a conversation I had with a young man. He was frustrated. Said he'd been working for 6 months and hadn't seen much progress. And I asked him, how long did it take to get out of shape? He laughed, said, years. Then I asked, so why do you expect to turn it all around in a few weeks? That's the problem today. We're trying to build a 10-year dream with 10-minute effort. Let me tell you something, friend. You can't cheat the process. A tree doesn't bear fruit the same day it's planted. But if you water it, if you protect it, if you give it time and attention, one day, you'll walk out and see fruit where there was only dirt. That's how life works. That's how wealth is built. That's how you are built. Now, when I say think long term, I don't mean forget today. No, I mean this: use today to shape tomorrow. What you do today matters. What you don't do today matters even more. And it adds up. That's the secret millionaires understand. They don't just show up when it's easy. They show up when it's hard. They show up when no one's watching. They show up every day. That's what creates compounding success. Let me give you a picture. If you save $1 a day, it doesn't look like much at first. A week goes by, you've got $7. Big deal. But if you keep going, if you stay consistent, 10 years from now, it turns into something big. Not just because of the money saved, but because of the person you've become. Disciplined, focused, patient, responsible. That's the real wealth. See, the long-term thinker doesn't fall for quick wins. They're not swayed by trends. They don't need approval. They're playing a bigger game. Let me ask you something. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Think about it. Where do you want to be financially, physically, mentally, spiritually? And now let me ask you this. What are you doing today to move in that direction? Because if the answer is nothing, then 5 years from now, you'll still be dreaming, still wishing, still standing in the same place hoping for a miracle. But here's the truth: miracles show up for the prepared. You've got to be ready. You've got to think long term and act with urgency. That's the balance. Big picture thinking, daily disciplined action. Now, people often ask me, Jim, how do you stay motivated to work on long-term goals? When I tell them, you don't need motivation. You need clarity. When you're clear about what you want and why you want it, you'll find the strength to do what others won't. Because when the purpose is strong, the how becomes easier. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start saying, let's get to work. And now listen to this. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. That's not just a quote, it's a warning. If you don't act today, you'll feel it later. You'll look back and wonder where the time went, why the dreams faded, why the opportunities passed you by. But if you do act, if you train your mind, if you stay consistent with the small things, one day you'll wake up and realize you're living the very life you once imagined. Not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it. You built it. So let me leave you with this. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Start now. Start today. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Plant the seed, water the seed, protect the seed, and trust. If you do the work, if you think long-term and act daily, one day, the harvest will come. And when it does, you'll look back with pride, knowing you trained your mind like a millionaire and lived a life few ever will.